He was late to his haircut. That is the detail that makes this story. Not the gun. Not the zip ties. Not the 3 rounds to the chest. A 26-year-old man was supposed to be at the salon earlier that evening, but he told his hairstylist he was running behind because he had stopped by his house to pick something up. He had gone home to get his gun. He almost didn't bring it. He almost walked into Marissa's beauty salon on Bass Road in San Antonio, Texas, without a firearm, sat down in the chair, and gotten a regular Wednesday night haircut. And if he had done that, if he had been on time instead of late, everybody in that salon would have been zip-tied on the floor at the mercy of a man with a pistol and a history of violence. Instead, he was late. He grabbed his gun, and 30 minutes later, he used it. February 5th, 2025. A Wednesday evening. 7:30 p.m. Marissa's beauty salon sits in the 2000 block of Bass Road on San Antonio's north side. It is a small neighborhood salon, the kind of shop where the stylists know your name and your kids' names and what you did last weekend. Walk-ins and regulars, a community place. There were only 3 people inside that evening. Nancy, one of the hairstylists, another stylist, and the 26-year-old customer who had just arrived late for his appointment. The salon was 30 minutes from closing. The lights were on. The door was unlocked. The evening was winding down the way every Wednesday evening winds down in a small salon. Quiet conversation, the buzz of clippers, the hum of normalcy. Then the door opened. A man walked in wearing a mask. In his hand, a handgun. He moved fast, aggressive, no hesitation. He was not there for a haircut. He pointed the gun at the people inside and started barking orders. Wallets, purses, everything. Now. The man was 50-year-old Victor Cardenas. He had a criminal history that included vehicle theft, vehicle burglary, evidence tampering, evading arrest, and drug charges. He was not new to this. The mask, the gun, the commands. He had a system. But this time, his system included something extra. He had zip ties. Not handcuffs, not rope. Zip ties. The kind you buy at a hardware store in a bag of 50. The kind law enforcement uses as temporary restraints. The kind a person brings when they don't want their victims to move, to reach for a phone, to fight back, or to run. A man who walks into a salon with a gun is committing a robbery. A man who walks in with a gun and zip ties is planning something that goes beyond taking wallets. Nobody in that salon knew what Cardenas intended to do after he restrained them. They only knew one thing. He was trying to tie them up. The 26-year-old customer did not move fast enough for Cardenas. He was not handing over his wallet with the urgency Cardenas demanded. So Cardenas closed the distance. He raised the handgun and pistol whipped the customer across the head. The butt of the weapon connected with his skull. The 26-year-old dropped. Blood from the laceration ran down his face. He hit the floor hard. Cardenas stood over him. He ordered him to stay down. Then he pulled out the zip ties. He started binding the customer's wrists, securing them, making sure the young man on the floor could not use his hands. The 2 hairstylists watched. There was nothing they could do. A man with a gun was tying up the only other person in the room. They were next. Cardenas finished with the wrists, then he moved to the customer's legs. He crouched down, zip tie in hand, reaching for the young man's ankles. That is when the customer moved. The 26-year-old, bleeding from the head, wrist partially bound, on his knees on the salon floor, reached for his waistband. He pulled his gun. He swung around, and from his knees, he fired. 3 rounds struck Victor Cardenas in the chest, at close range. The sound filled the small salon like a cannon going off in a closet. Cardenas recoiled. The gun he had used to pistol whip the customer fell. His body folded. He hit the ground. The surveillance camera inside Marissa's beauty salon recorded the entire sequence. The masked man entering, the demands, the pistol whip, the zip ties, the customer on the floor. The moment he pulled his weapon, the muzzle flash, the suspect dropping. It was over in seconds. From the first demand to the last gunshot, the entire robbery and the entire response happened faster than most people can process what they are watching. Cardenas was transported to a local hospital. He was pronounced dead. Cause of death: multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. The Bexar County Medical Examiner identified him as Victor Eduardo Cardenas, 50 years old. The 26-year-old customer was treated for the laceration to his head from the pistol whip. He survived. He was not charged. San Antonio Police Department reviewed the surveillance footage, the witness statements, and the physical evidence. Their conclusion was immediate and definitive. Legally justified self-defense. No charges, no arrest, no grand jury. A man was robbed at gunpoint, beaten in the head with the weapon, forced to the ground, and physically restrained with zip ties. He used his legally owned firearm to stop the threat. Texas law, specifically the state's Castle Doctrine and its expansive self-defense statutes, could not be any more clear in this scenario. When someone uses deadly force against you and restrains you with bindings, you have every legal right to respond with lethal force. But the story that made this case unforgettable was not the law, it was the timing. Nancy, the hairstylist, spoke to reporters after the shooting. She said the customer was supposed to be there earlier that evening. He had an appointment. He was running late. And when he finally arrived, he told her why. He had gone home to get his gun. He did not say he had a feeling something was going to happen. He did not say he had a premonition. He just wanted to have it on him. A decision made in the moment. A 5-minute detour on the way to a haircut. Nancy called him her hero. She told reporters he saved her life. She said if he had not been carrying that night, all 3 of them would have been zip-tied on the floor of her salon with a violent man standing over them, and nobody knows what would have happened next. The zip ties are the part that changes this from a robbery story to something darker. A robber takes your wallet and leaves. A robber who brings zip ties has a different plan. He wants control. He wants time. He wants people who cannot move, cannot fight, cannot call for help. Victor Cardenas walked into Marissa's beauty salon at 7:30 on a Wednesday night with a gun, a mask, and a bag of zip ties. He picked a small salon with a handful of people inside, 30 minutes before close, when the streets were quiet and the chances of interruption were low. He picked the perfect target. He had the perfect plan. But one of the 3 people in that room had made a detour on the way there. One of them was late, because he had turned his car around, gone home, and grabbed a firearm that he almost left on the nightstand. He sat down in the chair. The clippers started, and then a man with the mask and zip ties walked through the door and changed the rest of his night. Victor Cardenas pistol-whipped a man, zip-tied his hands, and bent down to tie his legs. He never made it to the legs. 3 shots, from the floor, on his knees, hands half-bound, blood on his face. The customer stood up. The robber did not. Nancy went home that night. The other stylist went home. The customer went to the hospital, got his head stitched, and walked out. He was late to his haircut because he went home for his gun. It was the best decision he ever made,